I used to love swimming at night. I know, it sounds dangerous and reckless, but it was my thing. I've always felt oddly connected to the ocean. When it's dark, quiet, and the stars are reflecting off the waves, it's like stepping into another world. I never felt scared. That changed last summer. I was at this small beach house I rented on the outskirts of a coastal town in Oregon. It was isolated, peaceful, surrounded by cliffs and thick woods. The nearest neighbor was a good 10-minute walk down the shore. No lifeguards, no tourists, just me in the Pacific. One night around 11 p.m., I decided to go for a swim. It was a full moon and the tide was low. I left the porch light on, took a flashlight, and headed down to the water with just my swim trunks and a towel. As I waded into the surf, I felt the usual sense of calm. The water was cool but not too cold. I floated for a bit, just staring up at the sky, listening to the soft crashing of the waves. Then I saw it. At first, it looked like a silhouette. A person, no, a figure standing waist deep in the water, maybe 40 feet to my left. I thought it was just another night swimmer, like me. But who else would be out here this late? "Hey!" I called out, half joking. "You're not going to steal my spot, are you?" No response. The figure didn't move, didn't react. I thought maybe it was a driftwood post or a rock. But then it started to walk, no, glide slowly deeper into the ocean. I swear to God, its legs didn't move, and it left no wake. It just slid. I froze. A chill ran down my spine despite the water's warmth. I slowly began backing up toward the shore, never taking my eyes off it. Then it turned around. And what I saw still haunts me. Its face, if you could call it that, was featureless. Smooth, almost waxy. No eyes, no nose. Just a dark slit where the mouth should have been. And it opened that mouth wide, wider than any human could. A hollow, gaping maw that let out a sound, like static underwater. I bolted. I didn't care about rocks or stepping on crabs. I ran until I hit the sand, grabbed my towel and flashlight, and sprinted back to the house. Once inside, I locked every door and window, but I couldn't stop myself from peeking out at the ocean. From the upstairs window, I looked out toward the beach, and I swear I saw it. Standing at the edge of the shore, just outside the porch light's reach, watching. The next morning, I found deep, long drag marks in the sand, like something had been pulled from the water to the dunes. I haven't swum at night since. This happened during a camping trip my friends and I took in the summer of 2019. We were all college students, broke and bored, so we found this small, barely known beach campsite on the Oregon coast, cheap and remote. There were 6 of us, and we were the only ones there. We got in late, set up 2 tents in the sand near a tree line, started a fire, drank, laughed, and passed out sometime around 2 a.m. I woke up to the sound of someone crying. At first, I thought it was one of the girls in our group, maybe having a bad dream. But as I sat up in my sleeping bag, I realized the crying was outside and distant, like it was coming from the shoreline. It wasn't just sobbing, it sounded off, like whoever it was couldn't breathe between cries. They were gulping for air, like they were drowning while crying. I quietly unzipped the tent, trying not to wake anyone, and stepped into the cold night. The fire had gone out. It was almost pitch black, but I could see the outline of the ocean maybe 50 feet away. And I saw someone out there. A person, barefoot, in a white shirt, walking slowly into the water. The tide was coming in, waves pulling higher onto the sand. But they didn't seem to care. They just kept walking, deeper and deeper. I yelled, "Hey, what are you doing?" No response. The water reached their waist, then their chest. Then they were gone, submerged. I sprinted to the edge of the water, shouting into the dark. My voice sounded so small next to the crashing waves. There was nothing, no splash, no sound, just empty black ocean. By then, my friend Josh had come out of the tent behind me. He asked what was going on. I told him what I saw. He said I was probably dreaming or still drunk. But I know what I saw. I was wide awake. We walked the beach for an hour with flashlights. Nothing. The next morning we noticed something strange. About 20 feet from our tents, there were footprints in the sand. Bare feet, heading toward the water. But the weird part? There were no footprints leading back. Just a single trail, like someone walked out of the woods, past our tents, and into the ocean. That's it. Later that day, we asked the old man who ran the small check-in shed if he'd ever seen anything strange around here. He looked at us for a long moment and said, "You're not the first campers to see her. Woman in white, always crying. Shows up in August. Drowned out there in '72 trying to save her son." He said it so casually, like it was just part of the place. That night, I didn't sleep, and I never camped near the ocean again. This happened in 2021, during a weekend trip to a coastal town in Maine. My girlfriend and I had been dating for 6 months, and we wanted to get away somewhere quiet. She found a cute Airbnb right on the water, a cozy cottage with a private dock that stretched out into a fog-covered bay. The first night was peaceful. We grilled food, watched the sunset, and drank wine on the dock under a blanket. But that peace didn't last. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of something creaking outside. It was subtle, wood straining under pressure, like footsteps on the dock. At first, I figured it was the tide shifting or maybe a raccoon. But then I heard the sound of something wet dragging across the wood. I got out of bed and looked out the window. It was dark and fog had rolled in thick over the water. I couldn't see the end of the dock, but something felt off. The air was heavy, still. Not even the wind was moving. The next morning, I went out to check the dock. That's when I noticed scratches, long, deep ones, underneath the railing, like something with nails or claws had been clawing up from underneath the boards. My girlfriend thought I was being paranoid, but that night, things got worse. We were lying in bed around midnight when we both heard a loud thud, followed by what sounded like someone crawling beneath the floorboards. Not walking, crawling. Slowly, deliberately. Then, a whisper. It was so faint we almost didn't catch it, but we both heard it at the same time. A low, hoarse voice, right beneath us, whispering, "I'm still down here." We froze. I looked at her, and she was already white with fear. I grabbed a flashlight, ran out to the dock in my boxers, and shone it underneath, crouching low to see between the wooden beams. And for a split second, I swear on my life, I saw a man's face staring back at me. Pale, waterlogged with black eyes and strands of wet hair hanging across his forehead. He didn't flinch. He didn't blink. He just smiled. I scrambled back inside, locked the doors, and stayed up all night. We left first thing in the morning. Before we left, I asked the Airbnb host if the house had any weird history. She hesitated, then said, "Oh, I thought you knew. A fisherman who lived here drowned under that dock in 1998. Locals say his body was never recovered. He was mentally unstable. Believed something was calling him from beneath the bay. Some nights, people say he comes back." We never left a review. Never went back. And I still have nightmares of that face beneath the dock, smiling in the dark. It was supposed to be a chill night. My best friend Tyler and I had driven out to a remote beach about 30 minutes from town. It was around 11 p.m., the kind of place that's pitch black, where the only light comes from the moon and your car headlights. We brought a Bluetooth speaker, some snacks, and planned to just hang out, maybe take a walk, and talk about life. No alcohol, no drugs. Just two bored 20-year-olds with nothing better to do on a warm summer night. The beach was deserted, as expected. The sand stretched out endlessly, and the ocean was calm. Almost unnaturally calm. No wind. No waves. Just stillness. We parked the car off the access road and walked about half a mile down the shoreline. Tyler was ahead of me, lighting the path with his phone flashlight. I had mine off. I was looking at the stars when he suddenly stopped. "Dude, what is that?" I looked where he was pointing. At first, it just looked like driftwood. But as we got closer, it became clear. It was a body. No, two bodies. Lying face down in the sand, not moving. I froze. Tyler just stood there, his flashlight shaking in his hand. We approached slowly, cautiously, half expecting them to move. Maybe prank us, maybe stand up. But they didn't. One was a man, probably in his mid-40s. The other, a younger woman, maybe in her 20s. Both were barefoot, and their clothes were soaked. There was blood on the sand around them. A lot of it. Tyler whispered, "What the hell do we do?" "Call the cops," I said instantly. He nodded, pulled out his phone, but before he could even unlock it, we both heard footsteps. Heavy, fast, coming from behind the dunes. We spun around. A figure, a tall man, maybe 6 feet 4 inches, wearing all black, emerged from the shadows. His face was partially covered, but his eyes locked onto us. We didn't wait. We ran. I don't even remember the sprint back to the car. I just remember the feeling of someone right behind me, the thud of their boots in the sand, and the adrenaline flooding every nerve in my body. We made it to the car, Tyler fumbling with the keys. I screamed at him to open the damn door. He dropped them once, cursed, then got the door open, and we both dove inside. He started the engine, and we sped off like our lives depended on it. Because they did. We didn't stop until we were back in town, pulled into a gas station and called the cops, reported the bodies, gave them the location, and then we sat there, shaking, trying to process what just happened. We thought that was it, but it wasn't. 2 hours later, Tyler realized he'd left his phone on the beach. Against every instinct I had, he convinced me to drive back. Said we'd stay in the car, just shine the headlights, and see if it was there. We reached the same area, slowly rolled forward with the high beams on, and stopped. The bodies were gone. But something else was there. Tyler's phone, propped up on a piece of driftwood, standing perfectly upright, flashlight still on. I didn't want to get out, but Tyler was already opening the door. "It's right there. I'll grab it and we'll go." He jogged maybe 20 feet, grabbed the phone, and turned back to me. That's when I saw it. Behind him, rising from the dunes. That same man. I screamed his name, but it was too late. The man lunged, grabbing Tyler and pulling him into the darkness. I jumped out, sprinting toward the screams. But by the time I reached the spot, they were gone. Tyler, the man. Even the footprints were erased, like the wind had swallowed them. I searched. I screamed. Nothing. I called the police again. They came out with a search team, drones, dogs. Nothing. No bodies. No sign of struggle. Nothing to prove what we saw was real. Tyler's phone still had battery. The last photo on it? A selfie I didn't take, of me sitting in the car, with the tall man's face just barely visible in the back window. They say I imagined it. That trauma can twist memories. But I know what happened, and I know whoever, or whatever, we saw that night, is still out there. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. Follow for more scary true stories, and if you want, you can send us your personal scary story, and we will make a video about that, and give you credit. Peace out.